Now, the societal challenges you already understood are much more, I would always say, application-oriented. Because here you have a real challenge for the society in whatever area, and you need to find solutions to that. So it is, by definition, more practical-oriented than any of the other ones. So, again, the Commission explanation is that Horizon 2020 reflects the policy priorities of Europe, 2020 strategy. If you're interested in that, you can find it on the internet, addressing major concerns shared by citizens in Europe and elsewhere. And this is why it's called societal challenge. It's not just an interesting topic. The topics are quite interesting, but it is a challenge for our societies for the next years to come. And a challenge-based approach will bring together resources and knowledge across different fields, technologies and disciplines, including social science and humanities. Again, these activities will cover the steps from research to market with a new focus on innovation-related activities. I think by now you must be sick of hearing the word innovation, but I'm just quoting what the Commission says. You see, the whole horizon is innovation. Piloting, demonstrating, testbed support for public procurement, market uptake. So let's see, what are the societal challenges? You have health, demographic change, and well-being. Health, you have to understand here in Horizon 2020, is more like personalized, the main focus is personalized health care, reflecting demographic change and well-being. In the past, let's say beginning FP7 and FP6, health was quite a lot of medical research. Medical research is no longer here. It's really personalized health care. Because that is one of the big challenges we are facing. The population is getting older and older in all regions in Europe. So how do we deal with that? It's not an easy task. We have to find ways, and we have to find innovative ways. The second challenge, of course, is food security, sustainable agriculture and forestry, marine, maritime and inland water research, and the bioeconomy. Without those, anything related to food and bioeconomy. Food is always a challenge. Food security is becoming a bigger challenge. Sustainable agriculture, forestry. We have problems in many areas with forestry. Marine, maritime, inland water research. We always see the problems of overfishing the seas. So maritime research. Is there anything we can do against? Is aquaculture the only answer to it? So there are lots of aspects. Challenge. Secure, clean, efficient energy. I think this is obvious. We all know the energy crisis. We just don't want just energy. We want to have it secure and clean. So nuclear may be, in some aspects, clean. If you have a short-sighted view, secure is something to debate. In the long term, of course, it's not clean. Smart, green, integrated transport. As I said before, we're facing transport problems everywhere. Not only congestions in cities, but the transport between cities, between countries. It's increasing. The number of goods we transport is increasing. On a long distance, on the short distance. More and more people buy things over internet. So the goods have to come to you. It's a lot of transport. Concepts, there are isolated concepts here and there, but it's not an integrated transport concept that we have. Climate action, environment, resource efficiency, raw materials is obvious. Europe and the changing world, this is now it's a bit different because this is not directly addressing what we see as a concrete challenge like energy, like transport. It's Europe in a changing world, innovative, inclusive and reflective societies. How are we in Europe dealing with the changes we observe in the world? There are many changes in the world. I'll tell you a bit later on. And of course, right at the end, secure societies. which is different to secure clean, efficient energy or other security aspects. Protecting freedom and security for Europe and its citizens. Again, a wide field. A few words on each of them. Health, demographic change, and well-being is basically, as I said, personalized medicine. Understanding health, well-being, and disease is one of the topic areas. These are the topic areas of the current work program. Preventing disease, treating and managing diseases, active aging, and self-management of health. Self-management is becoming popular. Methods and data. What methods, what data can be used? Healthcare provision and integrated care. So you see, these are topics that deal with care, either care from a hospital or self-management of health, with, in a sense, to some extent, self-care, active aging. Highly interesting, highly important topic areas. Food security, sustainable agriculture, and so on, a long title. What we have here, the main topics are sustainable food security, resilient and resource-efficient value chains, blue growth, demonstrating an ocean of opportunities. And ocean here, this is really concerning the oceans, our blue growth. What do we do with it? How do we manage the resources in our oceans? Rural renaissance, fostering innovation and business opportunities. Rural areas get more and more rural in many parts of Europe because people rather move to the big cities. Finding job opportunities in rural areas is difficult. We have to revive them. We have to find concepts to make them more attractive. We're still far from that. I know that there are in Germany, there are here and there initiatives of getting startups into rural areas, make it very cheap for them to be there. Now, many of the startups, of course, IT startups. I say, do I have internet? Yeah, you have internet. Fast one? How do you mean fast one? No. 2 megabit, is that fine? And they, no. Sorry. Fast internet on rural, no, we don't have this in Germany. So, it fails. Who's going there and then find out it's a frightfully slow internet? You cannot create a company there. That is a very simple aspect. Well, there are, of course, more complicated aspects. Bio-based innovation for sustainable goods and services, supporting the development of European bioeconomy. Bioeconomy is a new term. But you have to see the bio business and the economic business. You have to find a new relationship between the two. What we quite often see in the past, economy is the most important thing, even for food producers. They don't give much a damn about the bio part of it. As long as the economy is right, they sell it. This is no longer working. We have to find a balance between the two, for the sake of the customers, of course. Then we have secure, clean, and efficient energy. We all have energy problems. Energy is getting more and more expensive. We have to save energy. How do we do this? Heating and cooling. There's a lot of possibilities to use natural sources of energy. It's not just wind parks, solar energy. Everybody knows it's good for heating. You can use the same for cooling. Engaging customers towards sustainable energy. You remember one of the examples I showed you further on. Changing behavior of people. Not only convincing them that everybody will agree it's good to save energy, yes. Well, I don't know how to do it, but if the others do, I'm fine. No, you have to change the behavior of everybody. Buildings. Buildings are a big source of energy consumers. How do we deal with that? Industry, services, products. Industry uses a hell of a lot of energy. Services do. We need new concepts there. Innovative financing for energy-efficient investments. How do you finance all this? With the normal financing mechanisms we have, quite often the return of invest in this is not within 5 years. It's long-term. So many sort of financial banks or other financial investors are a bit reluctant. It's a long-term. So We have to find a different way of financing. These are the current topics of the secure, clean, efficient energy. We have another call, competitive low carbon. You know, carbonizing our environment and the atmosphere is one of the biggest problems. And nobody really knows what to do about it. There are lots of ideas, but it is a global activity. So even if one country says, we stop all CO2 emission, it wouldn't help the environment if the neighboring countries carry on. So you need an integrated EU energy system, renewable energy technologies beyond what we have now, enabling decarbonization and the use of fossil fuels during the transition to low-carbon economy. We cannot just say, no more fossil fuels. It won't work. So we have to find a good ways for a transition. And transition is not 1 or 2 years. It takes longer. Social, economic, human aspects of the energy system. It has effect on our lives if we make whatever drastic changes. How do we cope with that? Supporting the development of a European research area in the field of energy. Bring the research capacity also in this field closer together. These are just the calls for the current work program. You'll find similar calls in the next one. Smart, green, integrated transport. As I said, we all know what the transport problems are that we have, and there are 3 main topic areas defined in the current work program: mobility for growth, automated road transport, and green vehicles. Mobility for growth, this goes through all areas: aviation, reduction of energy consumption, waterborne, energy efficiency, emission control. Safety in aviation, road, waterborne. The urban mobility, sustainable urban traffic, we are far away from that. Smart electric mobility in cities, neighborhood level transport innovations. There's a lot of innovation potential in this area. Logistics, logistic clusters, innovative ICT solutions. I mentioned the problem with buying over internet. This causes a hell of a lot of problems for logistics and for transport. Intelligent transport systems, mobility as a service, cooperative intelligent transport systems. Infrastructure, socio-economic and behavioral research. See, all the aspects related to transport are in this smart, green, integrated transport under mobility. We have specifically automated road transport. I'm not going into too much detail here. The next one, climate action, environment, resource efficiency, raw materials. Climate services towards a low-carbon Europe. So you see the low carbon is both in the climate and environment as well as in the energy, because it affects both. Nature-based solutions for territorial resilience, water, raw material, earth observation, cultural heritage for sustainable growth. Just one word on raw materials. Everybody, when I say raw materials, you say, yeah, I know what raw materials are. No. There are critical raw materials, and they are defined, and they are high supply risk for an economic importance for the EU. We need certain raw materials, and they include, I'm not reading these, you probably haven't, you heard maybe 1 or 2 of them. These are the raw materials we are talking about. And you all know the current drive towards electric cars. We need batteries, lithium-ion batteries. There's a very nice calculation. Somebody said, well, let's take the best of all worlds. Say next year or in 2 years, all cars in Germany would be electric cars. Would that be great? Answer is, it's not possible. We can't produce the batteries. We don't have the rare earths, the REEs, to produce them. That's the simple fact. Even if people say we don't, if they're free, we just get them, the cars. No, it's not possible. That's a simple fact. So this is the other side of it. If you want sort of this type of batteries in the large scale. You can only do it if you have the critical raw materials. And some of them we don't have. Some of the other ones in here are also important for batteries. You find similar aspects in other materials. So that is something that is not immediately visible, but is an underlying, highly critical risk for developing new technologies and for developing solutions for the societal challenges. We have research and innovation that will cover the broad lines of activities in climate actions. The climate actions inform decisions for a climate-resilient, low-carbon society. Cultural heritage, engaging a new cultural heritage agenda on economic growth. You find this under climate action environment. It's maybe not the most obvious place, but here it is. Earth observations, nature-based solutions, providing viable solutions for natural ecosystems, and systemic eco-innovation. Highly interesting topics under climate action and environment. Europe in a changing world, inclusive, innovative, and reflective societies. Now, this is a title that if you just read it, you would say, what the hell is that? And it's not that easy. But if you, again, read what the Commission says and the way they justify it, they say the European Union is currently faced with manifold challenges within and beyond its borders. And this is certainly true, especially if you look at the most recent histories. Internally, growing inequality undermines its potential to create prosperity and provide stability. 6 million people lost their job during the crisis, the recent crisis. More than 120 million are at risk of poverty in Europe. And 14 million youth between 15 and 29 are not in education, employment, or training. They're not even in education. This is the problem. Externally, the Union's neighborhood has become an area of high risk with an increasing number of open conflicts, challenging Europe's security. Look at Ukraine, look at the Middle East, look at Africa. I could add, look at Trump. It's not yet part, maybe it's in the next work program. But these are threats, in a sense, immediate or medium term. Possibly they'll never happen. But how do we deal with them? We have to find solutions. So the key future research and innovation actions in this field are new ideas, strategies, and governance structures to overcoming crisis. Young generation in an innovative, inclusive, sustainable Europe. Whoever has ideas how to do this is invited here. Reflective societies. Think about yourself, think about your own society, reflective. Transmission of European cultural heritage, uses of the past, technically 3D modeling of accessing EU cultural assets. Quite often we don't think anymore about our past. We have so many immediate problems that we forget our past, where we come from. Can that help developing the future or future solutions? It probably can. Europe as a global actor. So far, Europe is not really a global actor, but it should be. Focus on research and innovation cooperation with third countries, new geopolitical order in the Mediterranean, EU Eastern Partnership, and other third countries. Europe can, even in this field of research, collaborative research, innovation cooperation, do something for the role as, or contributing, I'll be careful, contributing to the role of a global actor. And of course, new forms of innovation in the public sector, open government, business model innovation, social innovation community, ICT for learning and inclusion. These are all elements that can help Europe to position, reposition it, and help the societies in Europe to cope with this changing world we are currently observing and will continue to observe. So the core topics, just the titles: co-creation for growth and inclusion. I'm not going into details, you have to read it because the titles are sometimes not very easy to understand. Reversing inequalities and promoting fairness. Great. Engaging together globally. This reads a bit like newspaper headlines, but if you read the text, you'll understand. Understanding Europe, promoting the European public and cultural space. All very interesting topic areas. If you're working in that field, or related fields, do have a look at it. And now, secure societies. Primary aims of secure societies are to enhance the resilience of our society against natural and man-made disasters. Very straightforward. Develop novel solutions for the protection of critical infrastructures. You remember what I said about research infrastructures. These are huge research infrastructures, I mean, physically. You have to protect them. We see so much terrorism in all over the world. How do you protect these? Fight crime and terrorism. Again, new ways of doing it. Improve border security. I'm not sure, to be honest, if a Horizon 2020 project can come up with some really bright ideas and implement them to improve our border security. But it's certainly worthwhile to think about it a bit more deeply. Support the Union's external security policies, including through conflict prevention, peace building. We have security policies. Are they really sufficient? Can we improve them? Provide enhanced cybersecurity, ranging from secure information sharing to new assurance models. Now, if you're in the ICT field, you may probably say, well, these are not really my topics, but this one sounds interesting. If you look at the work program, this is purely ICT. And there are quite a number of calls. Cybersecurity is becoming one of the biggest threats in our societies. You heard all the rumors about the American election being influenced by hackers from Russia, if true or not. Theoretically, it is possible. So the things are not secure. Now we have lots of concerns in Germany. We have the general election in September this year. Already people say, well, how can we protect that? We're not using not voting over internet, but still there's a lot of IT involved in counting and so on. Is this secure? We had a couple of years ago a hacker threat in our parliament, or the computers of the parliament were hacked. So we have to do something. This is not just sort of annoying. This is a real threat, a security threat in the end. So this is, again, one of the topics. So that is the third and final pillar of Horizon 2020. Thank you so far. We continue. Thank you.